I hate beggars. I hate people who beg for food, money and clothes. I hate begging in general, and you can rightly assume that I don't give anything to charity. I despise those that keep begging others for assistance, and I come from a place where one had to work for everything for themselves. It should be made illegal to beg, and those that beg should be sent to prison. It just touches me the wrong way when someone begs to me for whatever reason they need or want. I hate begging, and I despise begging. Those that beg should be killed off. There should be no begging in the 21st century. In past eras, they imagined the 21st century to be a utopia of some sort, but the 21st century is the most disappointing era. I have this woman that keeps begging me for money every day, and it's starting to really irritate me. Every day she begs for money, and I have to say no, but my tone is getting angrier. She thinks that because she is a woman, it would bring her some more luck than if she were a man. All men and women must learn to stand on their own 2 feet. It is more important that struggle is felt everywhere. This woman always asks me for money when she sees me. Then a boy comes up to me and begs me for food and clothes. I have a little respect for the boy as he is asking for clothes and food and not money, but those things still require money. I started to get angry at the little boy as he kept nagging me for certain items. This little boy thinks that because he is a little boy, he could get something for it. I know how these beggars work, and I'm no fool. I can see their begging network at play. It's disgusting to beg, and I would rather starve and die than ever beg. Then that damn woman comes back to me again, and this time she brings more ammo to the begging fight. She has a baby in her arms, and she is begging for money with a baby in her arms. I was furious at what she was trying to do, and I will not fall prey to her scheme. That baby is a weapon, and such shameless acts shouldn't be accepted in society. Then that little boy comes to aid the baby-carrying woman. I knew that they were working together, and I was disgusted. I truly was. I tell them to come with me into a room, and I shoot them. Now, I have got to figure out what I tell the police about killing my own family. The police don't have problems with men's own families begging them for money, food and water. I should have allowed the man to spike her drink. I was at a cafe with my friend and we were just having a full English breakfast. It's a good cafe and I have been eating there for many years now. I was just catching up with my friend, but I couldn't help but notice that an awkward tension was coming from the table in front of us. I assumed they were on a date which went wrong or a long-term couple with issues. The cafe is in the city centre and so it's always pretty busy, but the service is always top-notch. The whole time I was there, I couldn't help but get a weird vibe from the table in front of us. There was something about the couple in front of us. You know how you can just sense that something is off with someone? Like their mental state has been rattled and their emotional state is a little wobbly. Well, that's what I got from these two. Then the woman got up to go to the bathroom and it was just the guy now. The guy definitely had a worried look and he looked stressed. I could tell that he didn't like how busy the cafe was getting. Then I saw him putting something in the woman's drink. I couldn't believe I saw that happening right in front of me. I then saw him do it again, and I say to my friend about what I had just saw. My friend looked at the guy, and he did it again. He put something in the woman's drink. Nobody else saw it, and then when the woman came back out and was about to drink her drink, I stopped her. I told her what I just saw, and my friend backed me up, and she threw the drink at the guy. The whole cafe went quiet, and they were all staring at the guy. He had a scared look on his face, and he muttered, "You don't understand. This isn't what it looks like." Then another customer in the cafe shouted out loud, "Then what does it look like then?" The man was lost for words, and he was clearly embarrassed. He tried to talk, but he was just muttering now, and then he just walked out. We talked with the woman, and she was staying at the hotel. We wished her the best. Later that day, we hear breaking news from that very same hotel. Hotel stayers have been killed by some creature. The police managed to kill the creature, and the creature turned back into the human that it had control over. It was the woman from the cafe. So many people were killed in that hotel, and we should have let the woman drink the drink, because whatever was put in her drink, the man was right, and we clearly didn't understand. The government now requires Cheryl to cheat with multiple partners in the dating and relationship scene. The government now requires Cheryl to cheat with multiple partners in the dating relationship game. She has no choice in it, but she does get paid for it, which is the only good thing from this. The reason for this is for something unusual and unique. For as long as Cheryl has been dating, each of her partners have had dark things in their closets which they had kept away from the rest of the world. When Cheryl was a teenager, her very first date and boyfriend was with a seemingly nice boy. It was later found out that her first boyfriend had enjoyed torturing animals and wearing their skin. He would then go out pretending to be the animal that he had killed. When Cheryl was in her early 20s, she went out with a guy who seemed all put together. He had a nice job and a place which was very nice to live in. It was later found out that he was a cannibal. He was caught out by his employees when he tried eating the cleaner. Through Cheryl's teens and early 20s, all of Cheryl's boyfriends were either killers, cannibals, thieves, physical abusers of children and women. Then, a person who worked in the prisons had noticed that every one of Cheryl's boyfriends, who were now her exes, were in this very same prison. The prison guard notified the government through notifying his superiors and so on. Cheryl seemed to only attract the worst, and the government had thought to themselves that the more Cheryl attracts these types of people, the more they can put them away and protect society. Cheryl was visited by agents working in the secret services, and after much talk, she decided to just go with it. So she did as she usually did, by going on a date with a seemingly nice person. But in the end, after some time, she ends up finding out that they have done something horrific. It's Cheryl's weird power in a way. Then the government asked Cheryl to up her dating by cheating, so she could go out with more than one person with a dark secret, but at different times. So Cheryl started cheating, and every partner she chose to date, she ended up finding out something about them, like having human bones in their garden or something meaty down the drains. Cheryl doesn't know why she attracts these types of guys, and she wishes that she could just go out with someone who is a decent person. The government, though, have found a use for her unusual gifts. Cheryl decided to go out with women, but the same thing would happen. Even those women she went out with would have dark secrets which would land them in jail. Then, Cheryl started going out with herself, and the government is now frightened of Cheryl. The robot keeps asking my daughter to take off her makeup. I am pretty old now and have some mobility issues, like body hurting when moving. One day, I get a knock at the door, and it was two guys wanting to talk to me about something. They were both wearing suits, and straight away in my mind, I was going to say no to whatever they were selling. They weren't selling me anything, but rather they wanted to trial out their humanoid artificial intelligence robot in my home. They told me that it wouldn't cost me anything, and that the robot would clean, cook, and look after the house. I was delighted, as I needed something like that. I remember the door ringing, and it was the robot. It looked so realistic, and straight away the robot started cleaning the house. It was absolutely amazing to have a robot that could do all of these things, and it took a lot of physical strain off me. Every night the robot would walk out of the house and walk back to its base. The robot would only leave once I was happy with the work it had done in my home. I gave the robot my phone passwords, bank passwords, and even my social media accounts. It was incredible what it could do. My daughter then needed to come back home as she had lost her job in the city centre and she was going to live with me now. When my daughter got back home, the human-looking robot would ask my daughter to see her real face and to wipe off her makeup so that it could do its job. It was weird, but my daughter took off her makeup and I assumed it was some weird robot thing. My daughter got annoyed with the robot as it kept asking her to take her makeup off so that it could see her real face to function properly. Things started getting weirder when the robot started showering and using the actual toilet in my home, and that's when the alarms were raised. Robots don't need to shower or use the loo. When me and my daughter confronted the robot about its weirdness, the robot simply asked my daughter to take off her makeup again so that it could see her real face. "Why should I take off my makeup?" my daughter asked. "Because I prefer a woman without makeup." And at that point, we both realised that it wasn't a robot, but an actual man. Also in that moment, he had stopped pretending to be a robot, and I had clearly been scammed. The man ran out of my house, and I had to cancel all of my bank cards and social media accounts. I also contacted the police. He looked and sounded exactly how a humanoid robot would look like and even sound. I just want to thank shortstory1 for allowing me to narrate these super short stories. If you liked what you heard here, head over to their Reddit page. I know they've got lots more for you to read through. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, and as always, stay tuned for one more nightmare.